Welcome back to Tears for Fears. I'm your host, Megan Shoup. You can follow me on Twitter at MegZoe8DFS. And of course, we are talking week 6 Tears contest on DraftKings. But before we do, be sure to like this episode and, of course, subscribe to the FanSpeak Network. Also, check out our sponsors at Run the Sims. Run the Sims helps us make our Tears decisions, and it can for you too. They've got great DFS tools, and I use some of the DFS tools to help me make Tears decisions each and every week. So be sure to check out Run the Sims. Now, I'm going to go over shortly and go tier by tier and, pick out my favorite play and my core plays in each tier. Before we do that, I want to mention we've got a big total game on this slate. We've got a rematch of one of the greatest playoff games ever in the Bills versus the Chiefs. The total is sitting at 53.5 right now and far exceeds, of course, the other games right now is in terms of the Vegas total. I just want to remind you about stacks. And again, I play about 20 lineups. So I am, as far as having exposure to this game, I am going to make sure I have some exposure to this game and probably, 15, 16 of the lineups. Of the 20 lineups, I might do 3, 4 lineups where I don't force any exposure at all, just in case that game goes sideways. It's football, anything can happen. So, but I will have a lot of exposure to it. And then probably of 5 of the 20 lineups will I really force some game stacks. So again, consider game stacks. Don't force it, even in a high total like this. You'll see as we get into the tiers, even when there's a Diggs or a Kelsey or a Gabe Davis, there's also other really good plays that could potentially have ceiling outcomes, and that's what you're looking for in each tier. So again, definitely consider stacks. I also like the Seattle Arizona game. Definitely consider stacks, but just don't force it. And if you're doing multiple lineups, it might be good to do, some exposure to the game stacks and some without. So with that, let's go on over and take a look and find our core plays. So here we are over in tier 1. And of course, we have the quarterbacks with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Kyler Murray. And for this tier, it's pretty easy. I am sticking to the shootout mostly. Like I said, in 15, 16 lineups, it will be either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes are my core plays. I might sprinkle, 1 or 2 with Jackson, 1 or 2 with Murray, but I'm basically banking that this game shoots out. So with that said, I love them both. I'm going to have near equal exposure, but I'll probably have a little more Josh Allen. He offers a little more of that rushing upside, which then helps both that floor ceiling combo. So Josh Allen is my tier 1 play. Over to tier 2, we have Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Nick Chubb, and Christian McCaffrey. For this tier, I am fading or have very low exposure to Nick Chubb and McCaffrey, and I'm focusing on the receivers here. I love Kupp, Diggs, and Jefferson are my core plays. All 3 have a potential to have a monster ceiling game. And especially in the case of Cooper Kupp, he offers that excellent floor ceiling combo. So for this tier, I'm going to go ahead and go with Cooper Kupp as my tier 2 play because I really like that floor ceiling combo. But again, love all 3 of those receivers. Okay, over to tier 3, we have Travis Kelce, Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Aaron Jones, and Jonathan Taylor. I will be fading or have very little exposure to Jonathan Taylor and Aaron Jones. Just more because I like the other guys more, quite honestly. Travis Kelce, Saquon Barkley, and Jamar Chase are my core plays. I honestly could see a big breakout game for Chase and the Bengals passing offense here. So it's really tough. It's kind of between Chase and Kelce as my favorite play. We just saw Kelce get 4 touchdowns even when they were like double covering him and everything. And of course, I do love that game environment. But I really do like a big breakout game for Jamar Chase. So give me Jamar Chase as my favorite play in tier 3. In tier 4, we have Tyreek Hill, Marquise Brown, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, and Dalvin Cook. Check the news in Miami about the quarterback situation. It looks like it could be rookie Skylar Thompson. That makes me a little nervous, and I would just be sprinkling in Hill if that were the case. I also will be just sprinkling or having very little exposure to Deebo Samuel and Dalvin Cook. More, again, I just like the other guys in this tier. And when I like the other guys, that means my core plays are Marquise Brown, Leonard Fournette, and Mike Evans. Tampa has an incredibly high team total against the struggling Steelers right now. And, I think both Evans and Fournette are in a spot to put up a monster game. And Marquise Brown, if you go through his targets, let's just pull it up really quick and take a look. His targets the last 5 games, 11, 17, 4 games, 11, 17, 11, 10. He's just getting a monster target share. So when he's gotten the bonus one of those times, when he gets the bonus and, can get a touchdown, boy, you're seeing a massive ceiling game. So, and again, I like that game environment a lot as well. So Marquise Brown is my tier 4 favorite play. Over tier 5, we have quarterbacks again, and we have Geno Smith, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, and Matthew Stafford. I am pretty much fading Cousins and Stafford. I think those are going to be potential blowouts and don't see the ceiling there. I think Rodgers, well, that could be a blowout too. I think he's probably going to be pretty angry coming off the loss and want to, get the Packers back in the win column. So I'm going to sprinkle in a little Rodgers in case we have an angry Rodgers narrative and he just puts up a bunch of points. But my core plays other than that are Brady, Burrow, and Geno Smith. As I mentioned, I really like this game environment for the Cincinnati passing offense indoors and, like a bounce back spot after that very tough divisional loss on primetime. Again, Tom Brady, very high team total. So I like Leonard Fournette. Well, I like Leonard Fournette too. I also like the passing side. They could put up a lot of points against Pittsburgh here. And Geno Smith is in that excellent game environment. So I really, honestly, am probably going to have equal exposure to all three. But I will do a game stack here. And I think we're going to get Joe Burrow a little lower owned. And I like him as my tier 5 favorite play. Over to tier 6, we have Mark Andrews, DK Metcalf, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Jeff Wilson Jr., and Ramondre Stevenson. Joe Mixon and Wilson Jr., I'm going to either fade or have a little exposure to. More, again, a product of, while Mixon gets a lot of work, he has not been very efficient. So this is more a product that I just like the other guys more. So my favorite plays are Andrews, Metcalf, Kamara, and Stevenson. And, excuse me, all are in good spots this week. So I really probably, yet again, I'm going to have kind of equal exposure to all these guys. But I'm going to go with Kamara here. I mean, he's a guy that would normally be like a, tier 3 or 4 type running back. And obviously that has kind of fallen off this season, but he showed kind of his ceiling last week, even without a touchdown. So Kamara is my tier 6 play. Over in tier 7, we have Tyler Lockett, Breece Hall, CEH, Gabe Davis, Michael Pittman Jr., T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, and Kenneth Walker. Hold on. Needed a quick water break there. And so my core plays for this, my fades for this one are T. Higgins or low exposure, T. Higgins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and just very little Chris Godwin. The injury kind of makes me, or just them being careful with him makes me a little nervous. So my favorite plays are core play, and I'm going to just have very little of Pittman. Actually, they were targeting Pierce a lot last week. I like him in Classic. But my core plays are going to be, Walker now stepping into that starting role. Gabe Davis, of course, in that awesome in-game environment. Breece Hall kind of in that starting role and looked awesome last week. And Tyler Lockett has just been putting up numbers week after week after week. And an excellent floor ceiling combo. So it's honestly really hard for me to choose here. Again, there will be some where I will do the game stack with Davis, but in this case, I really love the floor ceiling combo of Lockett. And you got a little correlation there too with the Marquise Brown and Lockett play as well. Love the floor ceiling combo for Lockett. So Lockett is my favorite tier 7 play. Over to tier 8. And we have Jacoby Myers, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper, Alan Lazard, James Robinson, Devin Singletary, Najee Harris, and Raheem Mostert. I have no interest in Najee Harris or James Robinson or really Devin Singletary. I know competitive games he can, get there a little bit, but again, I just don't see him competing with some of these other guys. I will sprinkle in a little bit of Mostert and Myers just because of their role in the offense. And I'll sprinkle in just a little Waddle. Same thing with Hill. It's more based on the quarterback that's going to be playing for Miami. So that my favorite plays, my core plays are Cooper and Lazard. Now in tier 8, you should be rotating through. So again, I will get a little exposure to Myers, very little exposure to Waddle, maybe a little exposure to Mostert. But my favorite plays are Cooper and Lazard. And between the two, I talked about how Aaron Rodgers could have like an angry Rodgers narrative and want to really put up some points against the Jets. And well, Lazard's his go-to guy. So he would definitely be my favorite play. We're not going to fill out the whole lineup, but Cooper and Lazard are my favorite plays over in tier 8. So what do you think? How do you think I did? Let me know in the comments section, and let me know your sneaky play in tier 6, 7, or 8. That's where you can find some lower owned gems. Now, before we get out of here, tomorrow or Friday, I will have up the tiers article and the tiers simulator, and it will really break out favorite play, core play, fade, sprinkle in the article, and then into the tier simulator, I will put in my core plays, so then you can kind of get lineup suggestions. Obviously, also go check out Run the Sims to help you make your tiers decisions. And of course, like and subscribe before you get out of here. Now, thank you so much for joining us. And now let's go make some money.